Few images send shivers down the spine like the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. Taken in 1936, it shows a spectral figure descending a grand staircase. This is no ordinary picture. It is a glimpse into the unknown. The subject is believed to be Lady Dorothy Walpole, the ill-fated mistress of the hall. Her tragic story is interwoven with Raynham Hall, a home steeped in history and mystery. The photograph's impact was immediate and profound. It ignited a firestorm of debate, dividing the public into believers and skeptics. Raynham Hall in Norfolk, England, is more than just a grand estate. Its walls bear witness to centuries of life, love, and loss. Built in the early 17th century, it has been the Townsend family's home for generations. Each stone whispers tales of the past. Lady Dorothy Walpole met her tragic end here. She was the sister of Sir Robert Walpole, Britain's first Prime Minister. Her marriage to Charles Townshend brought her to Raynham Hall. Accused of infidelity, her life took a dark turn. Confined to Raynham Hall, she became a prisoner in her own home. Her death in 1726 remains shrouded in mystery, adding to her spectral tale. Some accounts depict her as heartbroken, betrayed by her husband. Others see her as a strong-willed woman, unjustly accused. Whatever the truth, Lady Dorothy's spirit seems bound to Raynham Hall. On a seemingly ordinary day in September 1936, Raynham Hall played host to two photographers, Captain Hubert Provand and Indra Shearer. Commissioned by magazine, they were tasked with capturing the architectural splendor of the grand estate. As they set up their equipment on the main staircase, they unwittingly stepped into the realm of the paranormal. Shearer, adjusting the lighting, claimed to have seen a vapory form descending the staircase. Provand, ever the skeptic, dismissed it as a trick of the light. However, when Provand prepared to capture the grandeur of the staircase, Shearer urged him to quickly take the shot. He snapped the photograph, capturing an image that would forever be etched in the annals of paranormal history. The developed photograph revealed a startling sight. A translucent figure, draped in a gown resembling those worn during Lady Dorothy's time, appeared on the staircase. The image was faint, ethereal, but undeniably there. It was as if the very air had captured an imprint of the spectral visitor. The photograph was published in the December 1936 issue of magazine, accompanied by a detailed account of the events surrounding its capture. It caused an immediate sensation, capturing the public's imagination and igniting a storm of debate. The release of the Brown Lady photograph sent ripples throughout society. It became a cultural phenomenon, debated in newspapers, magazines, and scientific journals. Skeptics, armed with logic and reason, searched for a plausible explanation. They pointed to possible double exposures, reflections, or even deliberate fakery as plausible explanations for the ghostly figure. Experts meticulously examined the photograph, analyzing it for any signs of tampering or manipulation. Some suggested that dust particles on the camera lens, combined with the long exposure time, could have created the illusion of a figure. Others theorized that light reflecting off a polished surface might have produced the ghostly apparition. However, proponents of the paranormal countered with their own arguments. They argued that the figure's form and attire were too distinct, too detailed, to be dismissed as mere photographic anomalies. They cited the numerous eyewitness accounts of the Brown Lady, spanning decades, as evidence of her genuine existence. The debate, however, only served to fuel the mystery. It brought to light the limitations of human perception and the elusiveness of objective truth. It raised profound questions about the nature of reality and the possibility of life after death. The passage of time has done little to diminish the allure of the Brown Lady. If anything, her legend has only grown stronger, fueled by continued reports of paranormal activity at Raynham Hall. Visitors and residents alike have reported unexplained footsteps, flickering lights, and even fleeting glimpses of a lady in brown. Modern paranormal investigators, armed with sophisticated equipment and a scientific approach, have flocked to Raynham Hall seeking answers. They have conducted electromagnetic field readings, thermal imaging scans, and audio recordings, hoping to capture irrefutable evidence of the Brown Lady's presence. While some of their findings can be attributed to natural phenomena or environmental factors, other occurrences remain unexplained. The grand estate, steeped in history and shrouded in mystery, continues to be a magnet for those seeking to pierce the veil between the living and the dead. The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall remains an enigma, a tantalizing mystery that continues to captivate the human imagination. Whether a genuine spectre or a figment of our collective imagination, her story serves as a reminder of the vast unknown that lies beyond the realm of our understanding. It is a testament to our enduring fascination with the supernatural, the mysteries of the universe, and the possibility that some secrets may never be fully explained. It all began in August 1966, when Joe and Jean Pritchard moved into the house with their two children, 15-year-old Philip and 12-year-old Diane. Initially, the family noticed minor oddities: strange drafts of air, mysterious puddles of water, and lights flickering. The first significant incident took place while the parents were away on holiday. Philip, left at home with his grandmother, witnessed a white powder falling from the ceiling without any apparent source. Attempts to clean up the mess were futile as the substance kept reappearing. This was followed by a sequence of loud crashes, cupboard doors swinging open violently, and heavy furniture moving on its own. Soon the phenomena became much darker and more aggressive. The entity began manifesting in grotesque ways. Pictures were slashed, furniture was overturned, and the family started hearing eerie sounds that reverberated through the house, such as growling, hissing, and a guttural voice that seemed to come from nowhere. As the activity intensified, the family caught glimpses of a shadowy figure dressed in a black robe, with a hood covering most of its face. This apparition would later be named the Black Monk because of its distinctive appearance. It was during this period that the haunting reached its peak of violence, seemingly targeting 12-year-old Diane with particular malice. Diane was frequently assaulted by the entity. Her hair was pulled, she was slapped and scratched, and on multiple occasions, she was dragged up the stairs by an unseen force, leaving visible bruises and cuts on her body. In a bid to understand the nature of the entity, the Pritchards looked into the history of the property and the surrounding area. What they discovered added a chilling layer to the haunting. It was revealed that the house was built near the site of a 16th-century gallows, where criminals and accused witches were executed. According to local law, one of those executed was a disgraced monk who had been accused of heinous crimes. The Pritchards, desperate to reclaim their home, reached out to the church and various paranormal experts in hopes of banishing the malevolent presence. Paranormal investigators flocked to 30 East Drive to experience the phenomenon for themselves. Some of the most compelling evidence included photographs of dark, shadowy figures, unexplained temperature drops, and physical objects being thrown or moved with incredible force. One investigator witnessed a large grandfather clock being flipped over, even though it was too heavy for a single person to lift. Despite the continuous presence of investigators, the haunting never ceased entirely, and no one was able to provide a definitive explanation for the events. After years of enduring the paranormal assault, the Pritchard family decided to move out of 30 East Drive. Following their departure, the house lay vacant for several years, but stories of strange occurrences continued to emerge from new occupants and curious visitors. Even today, the property is known as one of the most haunted houses in the United Kingdom. The air in Adams, Tennessee is thick with tales of the unexplained, where every whisper of the wind seems to carry a story from the past. It's a place where history and horror intertwine, creating an atmosphere that feels both timeless and haunted. The Bell Witch haunting stands as a chilling reminder of that, a story that has been passed down through generations. This isn't just a ghost story, it's a tale of relentless terror that has left an indelible mark on those who hear it. It's a relentless nightmare that plagued the Bell family for years, turning their lives upside down and filling their days with dread. From 1817 to 1821, their farm became a battleground, a place where the ordinary turned extraordinary. An unseen force tormented them. It was relentless. It was evil. Objects moved on their own, doors creaked open, and the family was left in constant fear. The entity, a malevolent spirit known as Kate, made its presence known in the most terrifying ways imaginable, leaving no corner of their home untouched. Imagine whispers in the dead of night, followed by the chilling sound of footsteps, echoing through the halls. These were the early signs of the Bell family's descent into a living nightmare, a nightmare that would only grow more intense. They had no idea what awaited them. The haunting escalated quickly, with each day bringing new horrors. It went from unsettling sounds to physical assaults, as the entity's malevolence grew stronger and more violent. The entity seemed to focus its rage on John Bell Sr., the family patriarch, and his beloved daughter Betsy, targeting them with particular ferocity. Their once peaceful lives were shattered, their home turned into a place of fear and sorrow. The haunting left an unforgettable mark on the community, a story that would be told and retold, growing with each telling. To this day, the legend of the Bell Witch continues to send chills down spines, a testament to the enduring power of this terrifying tale. This is their story. The Bell family farm was once a sanctuary, a place of peace and tranquility, but that changed. The peace was shattered. It began subtly, almost imperceptibly at first. Whispers seemed to emanate from the shadows, filling the air with an unsettling presence. Unexplained knocking sounds echoed through the empty rooms, reverberating off the walls and sending chills down their spines. Doors creaked open and slammed shut as if guided by an unseen hand, leaving the family bewildered and anxious. The family dismissed these events at first, laughing them off as mere coincidences or tricks of the mind. They attributed them to the wind or their imaginations, trying to maintain a sense of normalcy. But as the days passed, they would soon discover a terrifying truth that would change their lives forever. Their home was not their own. It had become a battleground for something otherworldly. As the days turned into weeks, the disturbances intensified, growing more frequent and more violent. Footsteps could be heard pacing the hallways at night. Objects moved mysteriously, defying all logic. The family dog would often cower in fear, whimpering at unseen presences that seemed to lurk in every corner. A sense of dread began to creep into their hearts. Something was amiss, something they couldn't explain. Something dark and sinister had invaded their home, turning their sanctuary into a place of fear. John Bell Sr., a man known for his skepticism, couldn't ignore the growing evidence. He was a man of reason, but even he was shaken. He searched for logical explanations, but every rational thought was met with another chilling occurrence, each more terrifying than the last. The haunting was becoming impossible to deny. The evidence was overwhelming. The Bell family was trapped in a nightmare, their once peaceful home now a place of unending terror. The Bell Witch haunting escalated to a terrifying new level, sending chills down the spines of everyone involved. The entity, no longer content with subtle disturbances like knocking and whispering, turned to physical assaults that left the family in constant fear. John Bell Sr., the family patriarch, bore the brunt of the attacks, becoming the primary target of the entity's wrath. He would frequently complain of unseen hands pinching and scratching him, leaving him in a state of perpetual agony. His once robust health began to deteriorate rapidly, and he became a shadow of his former self. Doctors were baffled by his condition, unable to find any logical explanation for his sudden decline. They couldn't find any medical explanation for his ailments, leaving the family desperate and hopeless. Betsy Bell, John's beloved daughter, also became a target of the malevolent spirit. The entity seemed to harbor a particular malice towards her, singling her out for some of the most brutal attacks. It would pull her hair, slap her, and even leave painful scratches on her arms and face, causing her immense physical and emotional pain. Betsy, once a vibrant and lively young woman, grew withdrawn and fearful, her spirit crushed by the relentless torment. The relentless torment took a toll on her spirit, leaving her a shell of her former self. The haunting was breaking the family apart, causing rifts and tensions that seemed impossible to mend. The community, initially skeptical and dismissive, couldn't ignore the stories any longer as the evidence became undeniable. Neighbors and visitors to the Bell farm witnessed the strange occurrences firsthand, their skepticism turning to fear. They saw objects move on their own, defying the laws of physics and leaving them in awe and terror. They heard the disembodied voice that seemed to taunt and torment the family, its eerie tones echoing through the halls. Fear spread like wildfire through Adams, Tennessee, as the tales of the Bell Witch became the talk of the town. The Bell family was not alone in their terror. Their plight became a shared nightmare for the entire community. The entire community was living under the shadow of the Bell Witch, their lives forever changed by the haunting. It all began in August 1977, when single mother Peggy Hodgson and her 4 children, Margaret, Janet, Johnny, and Billy, started experiencing odd disturbances. The first indications were mundane: furniture shifting slightly, doors creaking open and shut, and knocking sounds that seemed to have no source. However, these incidents quickly escalated. One evening, Peggy was startled by a loud bang coming from the children's room. She entered to find a heavy chest of drawers moving away from the wall on its own. When Peggy tried to push it back, it wouldn't budge, as if an unseen force was resisting her. The Hodgson family's plight soon drew the attention of the media, and the story spread like wildfire. It wasn't long before the Society for Psychical Research got involved. 2 prominent paranormal investigators, Maurice Grosse and Guy Lyon Playfair, were dispatched to the Hodgson residence to conduct a thorough investigation. Over the course of more than a year, Grosse and Playfair documented over 2,000 inexplicable occurrences, including furniture levitating, objects being thrown around the house, and strange knocking patterns that would respond intelligently to questions. However, the most disturbing aspect of the haunting centered around 11-year-old Janet Hodgson. The young girl became the primary focus of the entity, experiencing fits of trance-like states and claiming to see figures others couldn't. At one point, Janet began speaking in a deep, gruff voice that seemed impossible for a child to produce. The voice identified itself as Bill Wilkins, a man who claimed to have died in the house years earlier. What made this even more eerie was that the Wilkins family, who had lived in the house before the Hodgsons, confirmed that a Bill Wilkins had indeed died in the living room, precisely as described by the voice. The behavior of the Enfield Poltergeist was erratic and at times cruel. Toys and household items would fly around the house with great force, picture frames would spin or fall off walls, and inexplicable cold drafts would pass through rooms. Witnesses, including journalists and neighbors, reported seeing Janet being thrown out of her bed and levitated several feet off the ground. The most compelling evidence came in the form of audio recordings made by Grosse and Playfair, capturing chilling conversations between them and the Bill Wilkins voice. Despite the extensive documentation and numerous eyewitnesses, the Enfield Poltergeist remains a topic of intense debate. Skeptics argue that the entire ordeal was an elaborate hoax by Janet, pointing out that some of the evidence, such as photographs of her seemingly levitating, could have been staged. Critics also note that most of the paranormal activity happened when Janet was present, and that she was caught bending spoons and bouncing on her bed at least once. However, those who were involved in the case, such as Maurice Grosse and Guy Lyon Playfair, maintain that while some incidents may have been exaggerated or staged by the children, the sheer volume and nature of the recorded phenomena were beyond rational explanation.